Thanks for staying with On Point. So it's common cause that the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns have resulted in substantial impacts for both businesses and jobs. But today we're chatting to a firm that managed to pivot from its usual business model to a different one in order to sustain itself and jobs as well. To share their experience and perhaps provide some tips on business resilience, I'm joined by Sergio Luiz. He's the commercial manager of Pie in the Sky. Thank you very much for joining us, Sergio. Now, we know that your business, you were in the business of providing services to both the hospitality and the travel industry. And then, of course, COVID hit. Just tell us about the impact on your business.
Thanks once again for the opportunity, and good afternoon to all your listeners. As you mentioned, we were very much involved in the food service industry and everything around that and all the downstream and upstream activities from that. COVID came along in March 2020, very unexpected, and absolutely decimated our core client base, which was anything in food service, from airliners to airline supervision services, and anything on the hospitality side, hotels, conference centers, caterers, you name it. We were supplying them in Cape Town. And so COVID was very, very unexpected. We had just recently moved to a new plant, so we were also just finding our new feet there. So it really was a double whammy.
Yeah.
Just for an example, April 2020, we were down about 90% in terms of revenue year on year. So that just shows you the scale of devastation that COVID brought us on, and some very dark times indeed.
Yeah, a very big impact indeed. So in that dire situation that you were in, you decided to activate a plan B, and now you're in a situation where you're actually providing to Checkers. Just tell us about that process and the kind of impact that's had on the business and jobs.
Yes, obviously COVID made us realize that we had to introspect and look very deeply at our business. We strategically, pre-COVID, didn't enter into the retail space for a number of reasons, and we were very comfortable in our sort of niche market on the food service side. Out of necessity, we had to pivot and move very quickly into the retail space. Thankfully, over the years, and obviously being quite well entrenched in the bakery industry in the Western Cape, we were able to call on some of our networks to see what work we could do with the retailers. And Checkers from the onset were very, very receptive in looking at our product, looking at new products, and looking at what we could offer them moving forward.
Yes.
And that process started really in the middle of the bad lockdown, which was somewhere around May, where we reached out to them. And obviously no in-person meetings, but everything done online, which was also very unusual. But be that as it may, we moved very quickly and designed a special product range for them, which we're very proud of. And that was a thaw and serve bakery convenience range, which builds into their whole new concept stores that they continue to roll out very aggressively in the Western Cape. So from the get-go, Checkers were really willing to engage and really exceeded our expectations in how they engage with their suppliers. And we've got a lot to be thankful for, and it's really given us a new sort of look on the future of our business and given us a whole new growth trajectory, which we would have never dreamt of pre-COVID.
So what has that meant from a jobs perspective? Were you able to keep all the jobs?
Absolutely. So, obviously our loyal staff were very important to us over this period. There were a number of interventions during that period that enabled us to retain all our employees. So all our permanent staff were retained, and business, for example, like the Checkers projects, gave us impetus to fire up our production facility again after a couple of months of not doing much really, other than just helping out a couple of NGOs with a few hundred rolls, where pre-COVID we were very used to doing a good few thousand units a day. So Checkers has definitely given us a more sustainable approach moving forward. It's given us the ability to retain and grow our employment base. As you may or may not know, the agri-processing industry is a very labour-intensive industry, and it's one that I think government is trying to push in terms of retaining and growing employment. And I think we can very comfortably and satisfyingly say that we've been able to grow our employee base if you compare to pre-COVID and current levels.
Yeah.
And pretty much as a direct impact of a couple of things. So on the Checkers side, we were able to get involved with their Western Cape division, supplying a whole lot of frozen convenience bakery products to them. And on the national scale, and this is testament to the way that Checkers engages with their suppliers, they were able to see the value that we could bring to the table and allowed us to take on quite a big project for them, which was a Christmas cake. So we were very fortunate to take that business on, and I'd like to think that we did a really good job in getting the stock up to their very high standards and deliver to them on time. So I think those two things have really helped us keep everyone employed and grow our employment base.
Yeah, well, as they say, Sergio, the proof is in the eating, and all the very best with your business going forward. It's a good news story in what's been quite a tough time. Sergio Luiz, he's the commercial manager at Pie in the Sky.